What you guys been up to lately, man?
We've been on tour for about 3 months now. Over in Europe, back in the States with the Cult.
Y'all been getting good reviews from all your shows so far?
Nope, but that's okay.
Doesn't matter, does it? Just so you have a good time.
Doesn't matter at all. I'll take love or hate.
Either one's good, right?
Exactly.
So who's actually with the band now? You've had a lot of lineup changes, I know. Who's in there full time now?
Well, we got Lance, our now on bass, who I went to high school with, and he wasn't in the group for about 10 years. So he's back in the group now, kind of subbing out for Alvin, who usually plays bass. Now Alvin's playing keys. We got Jason, who's been playing guitar for like 6 years now, and Ben Hallett, who's the newest recruit on drums.
Right.
Yeah.
So how you like this lineup compared to the other ones? You know, is it?
Tonight was good. Tonight was awesome, actually.
It was. Y'all kicked ass, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I had a good time. Who would have thought? Myrtle Beach.
Myrtle Beach, exactly.
Started off falling in love with punk rock records in high school. You know, Black Flag. You know, Rudimentary Peni, all kinds of fucked up stuff, and I guess that's kind of like inspired our progression throughout the years. Really, is like punk rock music. Even though we listen to all kinds of stuff, if you don't have that chromosome in you, then you won't work out in this group. I don't know. That's how I explain it.
You got all mesh, right?
Yeah, man.
Everybody's got to have a little crooked chromosome. Is that how it works?
Exactly.
A little bit about what the Kingswell house was all about.
The Kingswell house. Well, I was living in a hotel in Hollywood called the Magic Castle for about, I don't know, 3 or 4 months. The record label threw me in there. They didn't want to deal with me anymore. And some friends of mine, this girl Rhonda Doyle, was like, I gotta get this guy out of here. I was pretty much ready to go down hard. And she rented a house in Los Feliz, and that became the Kingswell house. And it was just kind of a revolving door for all kinds of musicians. And that's where we wrote Black Lives. Yeah.
Well, with that same thing going, tell me a little bit about the Pickle Patch with Aoki.
The Pickle Patch. Well, that was his house. It was an apartment in Goleta, you know? It was the only place to play there that didn't suck. You would show up, pull your van on the front lawn, load your gear in, play, load your gear out, and the next band would play. And it was basically a 1-bedroom apartment with a living room. It was great. It was awesome.
Continuous party.
All the time.
Oh,
it was great.
Well, you know, what made you get into all the production part and the engineering of it?
I guess necessity more than anything. You know, I never really, that's not something I dreamed of. You know, it wasn't really a priority until it came time to make a record, and I looked around and was like, well, I don't think I could really afford anyone I would want to have make my record right now, so I'll do it myself. You know?
Total control that way, right?
Exactly.
Sound just like you want it to.
As much as I can make it.
Well, tell me about a little bit about building your studio. Does that go hand in hand with the engineering part of it?
This is the third one. So, yeah, first one was in my house. I kind of outgrew / got kicked out of there. Then I built one in an old massage parlor. Oh. Yeah. The masseuse moved out, we moved in, and there would still be dudes that would come by every once in a while, you know, like knocking on the door. Oh, I thought this was a hardware store, man. You know, like that kind of shit. And it was like, you know, I don't think you have enough money to get it going on in here. Now I got a huge fucking place, and it's a dream come true, really. I can make real records there.
Whenever you want to.
Yeah.
Your schedule.
My schedule, and I can help bands that normally couldn't afford to record in a studio like that. It's dirt cheap compared to anything on its scale. So it's basically a resource more than anything.
Well, if you can, tell me a little bit about your creative process of how you, you know, go about writing your songs, because you do all the writing. You know, if you can a little bit, you know, put that in a little nutshell.
I mean, it's kind of different all the time, really. I'd say recently I'll give you like a little view into what we've been doing recently. Recently, I'll write the bare bones of a song, the idea of it, bring it into rehearsal, and then I'll kind of summon cues while we play, physically or, spiritually, whatever, communicate to everyone else in the room some way, and we'll record that. And if we stumble upon an arrangement that feels good naturally, then we'll learn it that way, and that's the song. So it's a very, almost frighteningly organic process.
Well, did you know about, how would you describe your band's sound to somebody that's never heard you before?
Well, people ask, when we go to Waffle House, like, are you guys in a band? We're like, yeah, we're Slipknot. You know what I mean? But when pressed to force the issue, I think I usually say we're like a psychedelic punk band or something. You know what I mean? It's a good blanket term for us.
That's
Yeah.
That's exactly how I would do it. Well, something we touched on chatting over here. How do you feel about all the new music that's out there right now? How do you feel about, what's going on with the music industry?
I mean, the music industry is probably just, obviously it's having a rough time trying to figure out a way to survive in the digital era, right? But the underground still thrives no matter what. I mean, bands like us that came from putting out their own records and came from a punk rock scene or whatever, we never relied on anyone to begin with, so we'll be fine. If I was a new kid starting up right now, I don't know what I'd do. But there is good music out there. It's just not at the forefront of the media, obviously,
It's just hard to find, more or less.
Yeah, even though the World Wide Web is out there, it's so fucking big, it's like you're looking in the ocean,
Well, what music are you listening to? I mean, of course, other than your own stuff, what do you like?
I never listen to my music.
Oh, you never do?
Well, the only time we ever listen is so that we can, get something right that we're fucking up on stage. You know what I mean? That's the only time we do it, as purely instructional, never for pleasure. What have we been listening to a lot lately in the van? Rollin S. Howard. He was the guitar player of the Birthday Party. He had a solo record that came out before he passed away a couple years ago called Pop Crimes. That one's done our head in, that's just on rotation. Trying to think. It's weird, man. We listen to all kinds of stuff. We've been listening to Born Against, which is an old punk band, and then we also listen to Draw the Line by Aerosmith. Just all kinds of shit, man.
Just whatever you're in the mood in at the time, mood for.
We listen to a lot of music.
Well, touch on this just a little bit about how do you feel about the social medias and all, and their impact and what they have to do with the music industry and getting bands' names out there?
I think at this point it feels more of a necessary evil to me than self-expression. I don't really want to share my feelings with everyone every 5 minutes. I really don't. I don't have anything to say to people like that. You know what I mean? It's just that's why we joined bands. That's why we write music. That's enough expression for me. I don't need to tell everybody what the cheeseburger tasted like. You know what I mean? It's I don't give a shit about that shit. I do keep some of those avenues open to let people know about a show last minute or whatever. Mine are for information, and that's it. I don't need to have a diary for the world.
Well, outside of music, man, what do you like to do? What are your hobbies? Draw, paint? What do you do?
I don't do anything. I work all the time. Yeah.
This takes up all your time, more or less.
I work a lot, and then I hang out with my woman and my dogs, and that's it. That's my life. This is a 24-hour-a-day job. To make this happen and to keep doing this, to keep a band alive that isn't a commercial juggernaut, you have to work all day. She's gonna take that down. It's all good.
What do your live shows consist of for people that have never seen one? I mean, is it?
For me, it's just kind of what we're trying to achieve is, a rock and roll show. what I thought when I heard of rock and roll for the first time when I was a kid, and what I like imagined it would be like. That's what I'm still trying to portray to people, so that if they see it, they'll feel that way. You know, that's basically how it is. Like something that's, you know, super pure and honest, I guess. We're getting static.
All right, man. Well, I definitely appreciate you talking to us.
Likewise,
taking
man.
the time, man.
I'm glad you guys came out.
We'll catch you back around here when you're coming back on the East Coast.
5 more years. No,
No
I don't
problem.
know. Who knows, man? Who knows?